get your copies today, I can tell you.
It's free online, too.
Free online as well. Want to know more about the G20, what really happened? You got to go to the alternative media for it, because the mainstream media just downplays everything.
It was frankly the only operational order I made directly over the course of the entire weekend. I went to the command center and I said, let those people go immediately and unconditionally. And that took place when I gave that order.
We don't want this to happen in our city again. We love Toronto. We want to keep it that way. Okay, you have a great day. Thanks.
Toronto Tree Seekers, 2011. All right, word up, word of mouth. We're here on the streets. We're in Queen's Park, actually. We got the director here, the G20 Occupation DVD. Adam, what's up? What's with this DVD? What's the word? Last time we talked to you was about G20 Exposed. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, I've re-released the movie. It's under a new title. It's called Under Occupation, the Toronto G20 Operation. So I got a new website up. You go to www.underoccupation.com. And the movie's there, all up on YouTube in one clip, so you can watch it there for free. And this is the final version, so a little better quality. So it's a little bit different from the earlier versions. Basically the same movie, but this is sort of just the final product. Looks, you know, pretty cool. Under Occupation is actually kind of, I've turned it into sort of a series now of documentaries. Initially I had just done the G20 one, but then I wanted to put some extra chapters in, and when I was making the extra chapters sort of turned into other movies themselves, so I just decided to release 3 separate movies sort of under this Under Occupation title. So the first one and the main one is this one about the Toronto G20, but then I also did another one called 9/11 Reality, which has sort of all the best evidence for controlled demolition of the Twin Towers in Building 7. So that's also, yeah, just go to underoccupation.com, that one's there. And I will very shortly be releasing the one called Global Hostile Takeover, which is all about, talks about the North American Union and how that's being used sort of to form, you know, as part of a world government, and how they want a world currency and stuff like that. It features a lot of Ron Paul. I'm a big Ron Paul supporter, and it also talks about libertarian philosophy and sort of the ideals of liberty, which is what we want to be moving more towards. We want to move more towards personal freedoms, you know, civil liberties, smaller government, as opposed to what the New World Order is trying to do, which is form a world government. And so that's what that movie is about. It talks about the financial crisis, the coming collapse of the dollar, U.S. dollar, and other fiat currencies, because all fiat currencies are backed by U.S. dollars. So yeah, that should be out really soon. And yeah, just go to underoccupation.com and check them all out.
We're right here in front of Queen's Park here. So we got the local provincial government right here. This is a site of where I guess the secret law was took place. There was an ombudsman report too here that was took place here, and I know you got some clips there of in the G20 Occupation that weren't in the original G20 Exposed, with Queen's Park politicians speaking out on this topic of the G20. What do you think about the local politics in the G20 and like these new clips, I guess, that you've added from the original?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I added a few clips from Peter Kormos and Andrea Horwath from the NDP, because they gave some really great speeches.
Is to have a public inquiry, one that's transparent, one that produces the facts, reveals the facts, pulls the layers back. I mean, good grief, we had OPP involved. Where was Julian Fantino on this matter? We had RCMP involved. Where was the RCMP commissioner on this matter? We had police forces from Montreal and other provinces. Who was supervising them, and to whom were they responsible? Why was there the major shift in policing perspective from Saturday through to Sunday? These are things that have to be asked, questions that have to be asked, because the answers are imperative.
The NDP does deserve a heck of a lot of credit for you know, for speaking out, because especially people like Peter Kormos, yeah, and a lot of people from the NDP are, you know, doing really, you know, saying all the right things, and so I totally support what they're saying about the G20. And you know, again, I'm skeptical, you know, if it was the NDP in charge, whether or not they would be speaking out against their own party, because it certainly seems as if none of the Conservatives or the Liberals are speaking out against their own party. But certainly, yeah, the NDP people deserve a lot of respect, and they're saying a lot of the same things we are. They're not really holding back much. They're raising all of the right issues and the right points, and they're the ones pushing for a public inquiry. And when it comes to the votes, all the NDP people voted for a public inquiry. All the Conservatives and Liberals voted against it, and that's why we don't have an inquiry right now. And so the NDP's have been great.
Right. Well, it's good to see some people out here at Queen's Park. We're out here. This is like basically the first G20 rally of 2011, first of this new year here. And what we saw basically at the end of 2010, there was a lot of news reports coming out again about the G20, especially about this Adam Nobody clip. And I know the Adam Nobody clip was in the original G20 Exposed. What did you think about when this was the big news? And
well, the Adam Nobody clip it's in the movie, and that's just one of many clips of abuse. So, that was a pretty clear one. You can clearly see the cops beating the guy up. But again, there's many other clips of police being just as brutal, and many instances where it occurred where it wasn't captured on film either. They charged one police officer, which was good, but there's probably 100 other police officers who did things as bad, if not worse, than this one cop that's being charged. So, I hope that, they're not just going to scapegoat, one or two cops here and maybe Bill Blair or something. So hopefully people do realize that this was a systemic issue, not just, it wasn't just this one cop who beat up this one protester. There was many people who got beat up. Adam Nobody's case was particularly blatant, I guess. It was captured on film, but it was only after it was captured on film from several angles where you could actually identify the individual police officer that anything happened, because the original clip that's in the movie, which had been online on YouTube, shortly after the G20, couldn't really tell who the police officers were, and so none of them were charged because they say, oh, we can't identify them. And then it was only after other clips surfaced, through the Toronto Star and Rosie DiMano's articles, that it actually appeared, that you could actually identify the people. And so it was only after the public identified the cops that they were charged. So it would be nice if the police used, the same, level of investigation that they used against the protesters. They went through all this footage. They had this whole special investigating team, going through hundreds of hours of footage and finding, kids that broke windows, who granted were also allowed to do it because the police all stood down, which is a whole, separate issue in itself. But, the police clearly didn't investigate themselves, and it was actually up to the public to investigate, the police. And so because so many people had video cameras that day, we did capture a lot of these crimes. And only now, when it was, very clear evidence where we could clearly identify the police officer. Again, most police officers didn't have their name tags on, so we can't identify them that way. A lot of them had face shields on, and it was only this guy who was silly enough to take his face shield off that he got identified. Otherwise, he probably would have gotten away free. And it's only after it was sort of on the front page of the Toronto Star that they actually decided to do anything about it. Had it not been for that, I don't think any cops would have been charged, and it's still outrageous that only literally one police officer has been charged when there were dozens of cases, both on film and, again, we don't capture everything on film, but people who were there who said, yeah, I got beat up by cops, they're not lying, Just because you don't have it on film doesn't mean the crime didn't take place, so we can't count on the police to investigate themselves. It's kind of a tough situation that we're in. I don't really know what we're supposed to do. When the police commit crimes, they're not willing to investigate it, and they only charge people when it's on the front page of the newspaper. So, what are we supposed to do? All we can do is point it out and say, hey, these, not all the police are criminals, but certainly a lot of them committed criminal acts of assault that they should, be charged and put in jail for. And that's really not happening. It's only happening in a few token cases.
And we're speaking with Adam Letalik. We're here at Queen's Park, and we're demanding the public inquiry into the G20 still, 2011. What is the website again for the move?
Yeah, it's www.underoccupation.com.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel.
All right, word up. We're here at Queen's Park, January 8th, 2011. We got a G20 protest demanding a public inquiry. Do you mind introducing yourself?
How do you do? I'm Adam Nobody.
Yeah. Great, and I've heard about your story. You've been in the news. You've been on the front page of the news, and I guess what can you tell us?
The fact that it shouldn't have happened in the first place, and the fact that I seem to be the only case that people are responding to, and 1,100 people got arrested, and I was in the hospital for a long time, and there was people beat up a lot worse than I was, and they don't get anything because it's not on video, and the police have swept it under the rug, just like they were planning on doing on me before that video came up, you know? And I'm very grateful for everyone who took the videos and for Toronto support demanding that somebody be held accountable for what they did. And I'm glad it's happening, but there's still so much more that needs to be done, you know, and hopefully it happens, you know, we're fighting to make that happen.
Yeah, keep it up. I guess we're hoping on for the public inquiry, G20.
You keep it up too, buddy. That's what matters, is that we all keep it up, not just I keep it up. We work as a team, and you know, we fight for our justice because a lot of people got accosted. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, and thanks to the guys that filmed it and got the footage out. Did you ever meet any of these guys? Or?
The guy who took the original video, his name is John Bridge. I never met him before when he took the video, and the day I met him is the day after he signed his affidavit. That is now a legal document, and it's on trial and what have you. I've never met him, but I have met him since, and you know what I mean? He's from Newfoundland, and he's just like, you know, I ain't taking this, you know? I ain't just gonna let this happen, you know? I got this, I'm gonna, you know, and he's very adamant about it, and that's what I love. The fact that everybody, you know, that was here knows what happened, and, you know, we're unifying, you know? We're becoming a unit to fight on each other's behalf, you know? It's a great feeling knowing that everybody, you know, especially even in jail, like the 31 hours I spent in jail, you know, in that cell, the solidarity in that cell of people who have never met each other, we're just like, oh man, like what happened to you? It's like, oh, that sucks. You know, this is what happened to me. Oh, that sucks. And, you know, there's a lot of people came together on this. And that's, you know, to conquer something, you got to divide and separate. But what they did is they unified us. And here we stand now together. You know what I mean? And it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
For real, yeah. Calling for the public inquiry in the G20. Research the situation. Adam Nobody in the G20. And thanks a lot, Adam Nobody, for talking.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me.
To do their jobs, to preserve the peace, to protect the public safety, but in exchange for those authorities, we're held accountable for how we use them, and I've always believed in that. I think that has to be done. It has to be done right, but it has to be done. And so I think it's important that we provide the people of Toronto with answers to their questions, and again, seek out the truth, determine the facts, and present them to the public.
Come on, see you in the streets. Yeah, test the logic, yeah. G8, G20, they few, we many. G8.
The G20 2011, demanding a public inquiry. We got Test Their Logic here. What are you guys thinking? What's the word?
Yeah, we're here showing support, you know, saying the real criminals still haven't been brought to account for what happened. That's Bill Blair and the entire City of Toronto Police Department. That is the RCMP and the Integrated Security Unit. Those people, they're the real criminals. They had $1 billion to, you know, intimidate and harass and beat on people. And so, you know, we're standing here for justice still, you know, reunited.
Yeah, it feels nice, you know, we're at a G20 rally again. It's the first one.
So we had our charges stayed, so we're able to associate again. We're able to go to protests again. We're able to wear bandanas again. So it feels good, you know?
Yeah, we're working on a bunch of new tracks too, hoping to drop our album soon, so keep on the lookout for that. We just in the studio for the last week, actually pumped out 3 new tracks and got 3 or 4 more on the go. So
yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in 2011. We're gonna keep it going, you know, repping for the people in the streets still.
And next weekend, y'all should come check it out. We have a show. It's at the Free Gallery. It's part of the North American Anarchist Studies Network, which is having their annual conference here in Toronto at the Steelworkers Hall, Saturday and Sunday. So you should come check that out. All right.
Yeah, what was the legal situation? You guys said, because I know there's been rallies for all charges dropped, or hoping for all the charges dropped in G20. Did you guys get your charges dropped? What happened?
So they've been stayed, so that's not technically dropped.
Yeah, they can bring them back if they want.
In a year's time, if there's new evidence, they can bring the charges back, but basically means all the bail is finished. We're free to associate again. Basically, for all intents and purposes, it's over. They're just being, the assholes that they are and are making our life, just giving it a little last shot by not giving us full freedom, but we're free in our hearts, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And it's a tactic they've used on a bunch of other people too. I have lots of friends who've had their charges stayed.
They don't have any evidence for anything. The whole thing was just a complete a sham. And it was economic warfare as well too, because we had to spend enough money out of our own pockets on lawyers. So it's just their way of trying to get to us. But
mess with the network.
They can't stop us. We got the strength. We got freedom in our hearts. So no matter what they do, we're still standing up. Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are still facing really horrible conditions, non-association conditions between brothers and sisters, between partners, people that are on house arrest. They've been on house arrest since June.
Can't even use cell phones or computers, internet.
Yeah, it's some really, really messed up shit. The repression is ongoing, while we're calling for all charges to drop. And I mean, not most charges, but lots of charges are being dropped. There's other charges that are still being put down on people. A good friend of mine was just recently picked up in London, and he's on house arrest now. He's facing a bunch of charges, and they're picking people up. They're still picking people up. They're trying to extradite people from the States. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're still pushing forward this criminalization agenda that they've got, and we need to stand up. We need to support all people that have been caught up in this net that they've cast on us, and break those chains and free our people.
Yeah, because they're the real criminals. They're the ones who are robbing the world, they're killing the world, they're destroying communities. So they're trying to make it seem like we're the bad people. No way. We know who the real people who are destroying this planet. And we're standing up and saying no more. We're gonna do what's right. We're gonna represent humanity and freedom to the fullest.
For real, for real. G20 leaders, look out. We're chilling with Test Our Logic, Illogic and Testament in Queen's Park, and the protest is on the move. Keeping it real, 2011. Word up.
Y'all check it out. We're gonna drop a quick.
Which one you want to do?
Conspiracy rap.
Do conspiracy rap?
Yeah.
All right, this is a new hook now. It's coming out on one of our next tracks.
Conspiracy rap.
It's called conspiracy rap. That's what we got charged with. We got charged for our rap. So this is what it is, yo. Conspiracy rap, intentions ain't masked, and we're counseling you to fight back. Attack, 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 attack. Test Our Logic is back, conspiring on the track. Conspiracy rap, intentions ain't masked, and we're counseling you to fight back. Attack, 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 attack. Test Our Logic is back, conspiring on the track.
Yeah. Dope. Word up. Bless up.
Bless.
Yeah, the economic warfare that the state is waging against the people, still facing charges in the G20 is intense because lawyers aren't cheap, and to afford a defense where you can actually find some kind of justice, it takes a lot of money. So the 18 people still facing the largest conspiracy charges are going to need about $1 million to help fund their defense, and that's not a small amount of money. That's a lot of money, and we do this activism. We volunteer to do this to change the world. We don't have a lot of money. We're doing it because we love the planet and we love our communities and we want to see a better world. So it's just that economic penalty alone is huge. Solidarity with all the people in 18 are still facing charges. All the people still facing charges from G20. We know who the real criminals that weekend are. It's these folks right here. Toronto's finest, supposedly. They had $1 billion to wage their warfare against the people, against civil liberties, against people's rights to assemble. So, we're still in the streets. We're still here.
Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Fuck the police! This is what democracy sounds like!
Dan, what do you think? What am I thinking right now? I got my boys back. I saw him surrounded by police, but he appears to be okay.
Nice. So,
yeah. When you see one of your fellow comrades surrounded by a gaggle of police, you have to start filming. You never know.
Yeah. Good advice.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Dan, what is there any word on the movie, Into the Fire? What's going on?
Yeah, man, we're working really hard on it. You know, I don't want to say any kind of release date now. It's tough to say. Maybe by the end of February, early March, hopefully. It's a lot of work to do yet. I mean, we've got over 100 hours of HD footage, you know, a couple terabyte drives full of stuff that we're going through. And as soon as we get the final cut done, which is almost there, I'm going to start scoring the film. And then as soon as that's done, we're basically good to go. So as soon as possible.
Awesome, yeah, look up for the G20 documentary Into the Fire on pressfortruth.ca. And Dan Dix, recently we had some reports on the Ombudsman report, Caught in the Act, and I know that he used a lot of the evidence from Press for Truth. Do you have any words on this Ombudsman report?
Yeah, you know, I thought he did a good job in explaining, you know, the problems with the Public Works Protection Act that was, you know, passed in secret. I was a little bit not disappointed, but I thought his recommendations, he could have taken it a little bit further. Having them revise the act is obviously necessary. It needs to be done. But still, nobody's been held accountable for anything. You know, he had the opportunity to interview Bill Blair, and he didn't. So overall, it was fairly good, but I would have liked to have seen, you know, Bill Blair and Dalton McGuilty somehow held accountable for their actions.
For real. And do you want to talk about the story of what happened in Queen's Park with Queen's Park, or do you want to get into that? Or?
With which?
With well, the idea of from what I heard, the Press for Truth is not allowed in Queen's Park, even though you're the main source for this Ombudsman report. Were you guys allowed to film the press release?
No, I'll tell you what happened. We went to get a the proper credentials to get a pass to be able to be inside the legislative building. They said if you're not a member of the press gallery, you have to go through, this avenue, and we went through that. They went onto my website and said, because your site says that you guys are political activists, unfortunately, we can't let you in. So, they weren't going to let us in because they felt that we had an agenda and that therefore we're biased media. So that's what they told us. They didn't let us in, but luckily you did get in and hooked us up with some footage, which is awesome. So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, for real, yeah. So stay tuned to Word of Mouth on CKLN. Check out pressfortruth.ca, and thanks a lot, Dan Dix.
Word out.
Yeah.
And for the citizens of Toronto, the days up to and including the weekend of the G20 will live in infamy as a time period where martial law set in the city of Toronto, leading to the most massive compromise of civil liberties in Canadian history. And we can never let that happen again. Thank you.
Remember your oath, sir. You're a peace officer. Remember your oath. A serve and protect. That's right. We are not the enemy here.
Where are people supposed to go? Pardon? Okay. All right.
So I just talked with one of the police officers asking, where our protest is supposed to go, because we're all boxed in here. He said to hang tight, pretty much have no place to go, so activists are pinned. It's kind of a hairy situation. Let's hope that the police officers use all their best judgment and do not injure any innocent protesters. Me? I'm being taken.
All right, word up. We're at the scene of an G20 classic location here, college. We're right near the police headquarters. Public inquiry into the G20. We got a traffic jam.
We're all here together, united as Canadians who care about this city. We want accountability at the top. We want Bill Blair fired. We want an investigation, a public, full inquiry into what happened during the G20 summit. We already know that there was an illegal act called the Ontario Public Works Act that was deemed illegal by the Ontario Ombudsman. So all the truth is on our side. That's what we're trying to get to, the facts. We want to know why all this money was spent, why the city was clamped down as martial law. Public inquiry! Now! Public inquiry! Now! Public inquiry! Now! Public inquiry! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair's got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair's got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair's got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Shame on you! SIU! Shame on you! SIU! Shame on you! SIU! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Bill Blair has got to go! Hey, hey!
Whoever touches me is going to be arrested for assault. Do you understand me? Yes, that's right. It's a detergent. Get educated about a police state. You either knock it off with the bubble, you touch me with that bubble, we're going into custody.
Ontario Public Works Act was an absolute fraud, and people were attacked and assaulted out of nobody. People were dragged by private security in the streets. So we're just standing up and speaking out the truth for this city.
The first G20 rally of 2011. Speaking with Derek here, and Derek, I noticed the latest thing I saw on the Secret Store YouTube page. You got the latest, one of the latest headlines, breaking news: serial killer was involved with G20 planning. And we've got reports now that Russell Williams, a former colonel of the military, who's currently in jail for killing multiple women, was involved with the security planning of the G20. Does this surprise you at all that the leadership of the G20 security could possibly be totally demonic? What do you think?
People are put in that position of power, and they turn out to be murderers, and they were planning G20, a secret top meeting in Toronto at the Army base to provide air flights for Obama and to protect the airspace. That's what Russell Williams was in charge of. He was there at a meeting, and that information needs to be relayed to the public. So, I mean, we're here. We believe in democracy. We believe in getting out the facts. And check out online. Information is getting out. There's numerous movies, Into the Fires, coming out. People got to see that. I mean, it's an exciting time to be in Toronto because people are coming together. Activism is alive and well, and we're connecting. We're giving out information. We're making blogs. We're doing radio shows with 88.1 CKLN. And it's all about just standing up for democracy. We're Canadians. We don't let this happen with no accountability. I just produced the movie, the original version of Toronto G20 Exposed. I thought it was important to get the truth out, to document it, and to get it into the right hands. We got it into Parliament. It was in the Toronto Sun. So it was just about getting the information out to the public. So it was definitely an important aspect of G20. All the footage on the news, as well as first-hand accounts from people that were assaulted, and the Ontario Public Works Act being deemed illegal. It's all news coming out, and I think it's got legs, and it's going to go into the summer. You know, we're going to have a rally on the anniversary.
Love you all. What happened when you found your criminal record? What's going on? What do the police think of you?
Yeah, I didn't pull up a criminal record. It was actually the Freedom of Information Act. I paid $5. You can go to the police headquarters or any division in Toronto or across the GTA. You can request that. And I got a public information. And I was giving out DVDs all summer, giving them to media outlets, giving them to police officers, just having conversations, asking them what their opinions were. And they filled out a report that I was giving out anti-police, anti-G20 material. I think we have freedom of speech in this country and we need to stand up for it. And if we have information, we have the right to hand that out. And I wasn't doing anything wrong. You know, I just wanted to get the truth out. Let's see if I have it here. Yeah, I was at Ryerson for the start of a rally back in, I believe it was in October. And I was handing out free DVDs just to people in the crowd and also some of the police officers. I asked them if they wanted some DVDs, and a lot of them have accepted them. It was the free movie you can watch online, the original version. It's www.torontoG20exposed.ca. I thought it was important to get out the facts and get out the information to the public to let them know what happened. And I went and got a Freedom of Information Act from the police headquarters in Toronto. It cost $5. I would recommend people going there to get it. I don't have a criminal record, so I thought it was important to see what was in my file, especially when the 12 police officers came after me in front of my condominium because I asked a question off the record to a police officer, and then I got assaulted and I got ID checked. So I went to get help in my condominium from a security guard, and I was pretty shooken up by that. And that was my motivation to get the movie out. You know, if that didn't happen to me, I probably would have never produced that movie. But that made me realize that we need to stand up for democracy and get the freedom of speech out. And the movie is about real stories. It's about what happened during G20, first-hand accounts. So I pulled up that information, the Freedom of Information Act, and the information said that there was an investigation when I handed out DVDs, and it said the actual circumstances were videographer provided complimentary copy of anti-police G20 related DVD he produced to reporting officers prior to an anti-G20 protest at Ryerson University. And it says males believed to be reporting officers during their interaction. No, that's simply not the case. I wasn't recording officers. I was just trying to make conversation and give out the information. So, I mean, they did take some DVDs, and then they filled out a report on me, just keeping tabs, I guess. But I mean, we need to get the information out. So the best way to do it is giving out DVDs, giving out links to like news stories, getting together in your community and talking about what happened, because the Ontario Public Works Act was deemed illegal by the Ontario Ombudsman. Adam Nobody was assaulted. People were trampled singing "Oh Canada." You know, this is our city, and we need to take it back. We need to stand up and be strong, and we need to be peaceful at all times.
Thanks a lot, Derek, for your words. Any just last thoughts here? It looks like we're at the end of the rally here. First rally of 2011, the Public Inquiry rally.
Yeah, I think we're looking forward to some more rallies during the summer. Hopefully on the one-year anniversary, June 26th and 27th, more people will be aware of what happened, and more people will see the YouTube videos. You can go up on YouTube and just type in G20 Toronto and see what happened. See the facts. You know, everybody needs to know that we have the right to protest. We have the freedom of assembly. And when rights are taken away from Canadians, this is the time to stand up and to say, we're not going to take it. We need accountability. We need investigations to happen. And we need to know where $1 billion was spent of taxpayers' money. We need to know why Toronto was turned into martial law.
No, we don't need martial law in this country. No, we went through it already, and that's just a taste of what's probably going to come soon. So let's stand up for our rights, and we'll be better off for it. Because we have a right to assemble, we have a right to hang around anybody we please, and to talk about anything we want. So let's stand up for our rights and our freedoms and our democracy, and we'll be okay.